Hi, hello, welcome to the Daily Tarot Buffet brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Abossi. I will be your oracle today. If you're new, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. You belong, so welcome home. Thank you for your continued support. It's a delight and an honor and a privilege to serve you. Thank you for allowing me to do so. I was sent to deliberate the findings for the transiting moon into Sagittarius during the Taurus season. Sagittarius is an eighth house event. So during the Taurus season, when any planet is transiting or the sign of Sagittarius, it's an eighth house event. So this planetary ingress or energy event is the moon. So it's a lunation event. So when the moon is transiting the eighth house, it's typically quick. It's a 2.5 day cycle. And it means that there's an increase in intuition and insight. There can be some type of understanding or knowing, or, the moon is actually the high priestess. A lot of people think it's other energies. That's arguable. So it's pure, exalted, gracious influence over an entire cycle. And normally I just talk about increased intuition, increased insight, but the high priestess card actually represents the moon in Scorpio, typically either the eighth or 12th house in the sign of Scorpio. Okay. So typically you'd need to be like a Sagittarius rising because there's like an archetype of the huntress, which is the triple moon goddess, but in its early phase and its maiden phase. So we are beginning to understand some of the intricacies around things that have been hidden, things that have been masked. And that's what the moon in the eighth house talks about. The eighth house is about deep insight, projection, confrontations of the subconscious, confrontations of our soul, especially like the karmic aspect of that. Okay. So fourth house, eighth house, 12th house, privacy, secrecy, eighth house, discretion. Okay, so what's going on is that some kind of gate or portal is opening up. We're going to be given a little spark of our own soul, a spark of our own flame to understand our sacred union with the divine. And sometimes what'll be highlighted is the lack of union, or if we're kind of doing the thing, if we're on the grind, if we're on the hustle, that thug, thistle, that flow, we might also see how we've contributed, knowing or unknowingly, to our spirit karma life path destiny. But there will be some kind of trauma being illuminated, elucidated, enumerated, perhaps something where we were kind of conned or lured or tempted into maybe even some enchantment, all right? And the places where we were taking actions were according to some perhaps delusion or something of that nature. Virtues of Abundance is the Galactic Temple of Ascension, delivering sacred messages from behind the veil. From Liminal 11, we will be using This Might Hurt Tarot to impose the guidance. That's by Isabella Rotman. And again, brought to you today by Liminal 11 Publishing. If anything resonates deeply with you, go ahead and smash that like button. We will lay initially 4 cards. And these are tarot cards that will talk about the collective energy, the nature of the entire energy as we're gathered here today during the daily tarot buffet for the transiting moon into the sign of Sagittarius. Now, these 4 cards will have other cards come afterwards, okay? But the initial 4 cards are the overall energy, and the additional cards will either clarify or modify the meaning of these initial 4 cards. So we're kind of moving into the self, but for some of us, we're being left to our own devices. So for unhealed, unawakened, there's going to be some type of karmic or celestial summons where those kind of energies, entities, ideologies need to kind of move forward through the karmic gate. And we may need to detach from some things because we're unhealed, unawakened. We are living in illusion, delusion, confusion. We may have allowed ourselves or successfully been smoke and mirrors, gaslit, mirage, glamour, something that was basically living in sin or living unclean. And we're going to have to yield to that. We're going to have to kind of submit to the karmic functions of the universe. Doesn't mean that we're in the wrong, doesn't mean that we're bad. It means that we were unhealed, unawakened, and we need to take responsibility for moving on from that point. Because we should be highly blessed, favored, chosen, and anointed. We should be living in the divine grace, the all that is, the all that was, the all that ever will be. meaning that we're answering the calling on our life. We're guided by faith, not by sight. Okay, so as we move into our spirit, karma, life, past destiny, there's gonna be a reckoning of some kind, and we need to yield to that reckoning. So let us begin. We have the Queen of Swords, Five of Swords. We have the Five of Wands and the Six of Cups. So these are the overall energies for this entire reading as we're gathered here today for the Daily Tarot Faith for transiting moon into the sign of Sagittarius. Again, I repeat, the overall 4 tarot cards are Queen of Swords, Five of Swords, Five of Wands, Six of Cups. Again, Queen of Swords, Five of Swords, Five of Wands, Six of Cups. Those are the overall 4 cards that define this entire overall energy for this spread today. Now, the additional cards may clarify or modify. Starting with the Queen of Swords. So the Queen of Swords is somebody that is living in widowhood. It doesn't mean from a relationship, but it very much can mean that. It means that there's some type of austerity. They might have to also be needing boundary standards, or it may even need to oppose or even attack, because she was once the Queen of Swords. This Queen of Swords was once the Queen of Cups, meaning she's been made to cry, and her heart had to close or at least become boundaried. All right. Now, there can be a negative energy with the Queen of Swords here because we have a 5 that can give what's called inversion, also known as reversed meanings. Let's go to this other 5. So this Queen might not be inverted, but the 6 might be. But this 5 of Swords typically means standards and boundaries. It can also mean a lose-lose situation, something that was short-sighted. It can mean burial and obsequies, meaning like burying the hatchet, because there's also some inversion here. Now, the Six of Cups talks about receiving anointing. It also talks about, places of origin, typically childhood, or some kind of memories of the past that are fun. We have the Five of Wands as crossing, conundrums, competition, contestation, cacophonies of compounding karma, basically. So the Queen of Swords with the Five of Wands can make this person bitter. Okay, it means that something's being fought over, or that this person's going through a karmic lesson, and that's just what's up. Now, Queen of Swords with the Five of Swords means needing Queen of Five of Swords. Needs boundaries and standards, needs to attack, oppose, or block something. There can also be a little bit of love-hate frenemy energy here with the Five of Swords. Let's fix the camera. I'm going to move the camera. Okay. I hope that's better. And then the Six of Cups, if it is in its reverse energy, since it's flanked by 2 5s, that could be some kind of, needing to move on. Also regressing, like going back to a former state, having lapses of some kind. Typically, it's like an emotional lapse, so we can be dealing with somebody who's older or gone through some type of trauma, maybe even a brain injury. I'm giving an example. It might not be here, and this is not a health reading. We don't do health or legal for public readings, but this is a therapeutic space, not a clinical space. Let me say it that way. But it's like any Six of Cups in reverse talks about regressing or like a vulnerability. Okay, so Six of Cups is receiving anointing. Six of Pentacles is receiving favor. 10 of Cups, King of Pentacles, Knight of Swords. So yeah, we might be trying to create something from the past, or we're trying to go back to a former time. And with these inversions, a pair of fives can talk about chaos in some kind of way, shape, form, or another. Vertex of Abundance is a galactic temple of ascension, delivering sacred messages from behind the veil. If anything resonates deeply with you, go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Leave a review, book a session, send a donation. We will be using from Ripe Avocado, we will be deliberating the findings for any type of pairing or multiplicities from the Minor Arcana of the Cosmic Coven Tarot by Lillian Lazenby, we have a pair of fives here, a double five. When two fives come out, especially in close proximity, it means debilitation, degradation, decline, destabilization. A loss of some kind. It can't even be chaos. And to clarify this pair of fives here, we have the Eight of Wands. So it's a vectoring of some kind, maybe even pinpointing. Yeah, so there's an estate or legacy here, and somebody was trying to secure some kind of position to build something up and out of, something that really was originates from our own energy, and we're in a position that something or someone, energy, entity, ideology, enemy maybe, is trying to like take down or gain access to. And it's because there's something to build or gain out of, and some kind of position of like commitment or growth is trying to be secured from an external energy. I don't know if it's a person or not, but there's an external energy trying to gain a foothold through us, and it's not working. So this double five is suggesting that there's a strategy, an agenda, or some type of karmic lesson, maybe even somebody who's out of alignment vibrationally. They may be demonic. And that word yet is unsustained. It doesn't mean that they're of the infernal kingdom. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes demon just means something that's at a lower vibration that's trying to engage with its own power and our power. So there's some technicalities in that demon word. Um, and, we would need clarifiers for that. But we're fully alive, fully awakened, fully emblazoned. And Queen of Wands is high vibrational. She's the highest vibrational female in the deck outside of the Empress. Um, because we're receiving some kind of delayed message here, or delayed news, bad news, unfavorable news, adjusting feedback, meaning negative feedback. There is some kind of vainglorious energy here. Some energy wants to go back to the past, get going on what used to be going on, but we've already matured from there. I use this example sometimes. It's a little gross, I'm sorry, but like once you eliminate from your bowels, you flush the toilet. You don't necessarily try to shove it back up there. So, if we've moved on, moved forward from one cycle to a next, we can't go back because we need to be who we used to be. We would need to regress to a former aspect of ourselves where we've already matured from. So that's just what I'm getting here. And I have to say it like that part of me. We have the King of Swords, Temperance, Magician. So, and the Knight of Wands. So, dealing with the eight house and some energy here wanting to, because there's some kind of witchcraft going on. Magician and the Five of Wands. I'm already getting, and I need to confirm, but I'm already getting, a double five is indication of witchcraft. We already have a pair of knights here, so there's a convergence of energies or spirits are being sent at us, towards us, and they're coming in trying to bring with it the past. We have three indicators for the past, and I want to say the Knight of Wands is going from east to west, that's the past. The Knight of Swords is going from east to west, that's the past. And then the Six of Cups talks about the past. However, we have some magician here, and it's in the side of others. It's in the position of others. So it's very well probably another being, energy, entity, ideology, all the same, perhaps an enemy. Because we do have the Five of Swords out. That means that there is some type of open enemy. Now, it's in a universal spot, so it could simply be something that fell all the way down to the ground, something that lost grace, something that was quite a blemish, something that collapsed due to procrastination, something that was short-sighted. But with a queen and a king, it also talks about some deliberate nature here. So with the Magician, that means intellect, reasoning, communication, or it means skill, craft, abilities. And I'm getting spiritual manipulation, energy projection. I don't have it confirmed here, but that's what I'm getting and sensing. And then we have the Knight of Wands with the Temperance card. So that would talk about some kind of Mars in Sagittarius or in the ninth house, or just a Sagittarius rising. We also have here the King and Queen of Swords. So that's somebody committed to being estranged or attacking or opposing. Unless these are two people in alignment to rule and to yield and to leverage and impose some kind of supreme authority, or partners where some type of technical skill, accreditation is required, it would be two people that are estranged. They're united, but they're united in being like divorced or estranged or separated or at war. So, Virtues of Abundance is the Galactic Temple of Ascension. We are living sacred messages from behind the veil. If anything resonates deeply with you, go ahead and smash that like button. We will be using, excuse me. From Etsy, we will be using the Vibe About It Tarot to deliberate any findings for union, matching in terms of union. And that's it's the Pop of Love Oracle by Vibe About It Tarot. And again, you can find that over at Etsy, brought to you by Etsy. We have, for this King and Queen of Swords, we have wordless. So there's an estrangement, perhaps prickly and precarious, pointed and pernicious, or perhaps because there's still some awakening. We've hit that initiatory mark where we're past the, novice stage, but we're still kind of marshaling our resources, and we do need to kind of make an action back to the past. We have wordless here. There's so much for me to tell you, but I am unable to express myself in a rational way, so I'd rather keep quiet. Too much in their head and unable to express their emotions rationally. Words are jumbled, or words were left unsaid, unable to speak, or unwilling to say the truth. Karmic partners watching. Yeah, so they got their eyes on us. Telepathic, inner child healing. So we're going through some kind of awakening here. Inner child healing. We're kind of waking up. This might be what we're saying to ourselves or through the ethers. I've made and used excuses in order to control or sabotage our connection, but now I realize that the only way to heal is to mend, acknowledge, and forgive my past. So what this is telling me is that we would hold space for things that really weren't in alignment. We would make excuses, give the benefit of the doubt. We would keep on keeping on because we were unhealed, unawakened, and didn't know enough to let go, let God. We didn't know how to walk away from things that weren't looking for us, acting for us, striving for us. We didn't get it from the table when love was no longer being served. So it says here, we're going inside to explore our authentic feelings and parts of ourselves that may have been rejected and labeled as inappropriate or too much by others, especially caregivers. Okay. Now, this other party, there's telepathy here, but watching. So they're going to the Instagram, the Facebook, the social networks, the whatever, the what have you. Maybe they're looking things up online and public records. And we are still watching, but we're going through this inner child healing because collectively we're karmic partners, meaning we were there to trigger each other and activate our healing. Five of Wands means karmic lessons. So I know I am settling if I am not with you, but I feel I am stuck because I am afraid to change. I am used to what I have, even if it is not enough for me. I'm working on feeling deserving of you. So they test us in our understanding of love and relationships because there's turbulence with plenty of highs and lows, red flags, codependency, arguments, and miscommunication. So probably better to be speechless than have a bunch of bull. Okay. And that's just what I'm getting. And that was from the King and Queen of Swords. Thank you very much. So of course there's some estrangement because both parties are awakening and healing on their own in their own right, as they should, but they probably had to withdraw their energy from the situation to not compound any cascading karma. So somebody might be hoping and wishing and praying to heal or to reunite, to reconcile, and that probably might be us. We might be getting many dreams about old flames, understanding finally what happened, going through the history books in our mind and our heart and our soul and our body and our spirit to figure out what happened. Maybe we finally know what happened. Maybe things are finally clear. When up until recently we didn't know what happened or things were obscured. Now there is some projection here, so there can be some witchcraft to bring up the past so we get stuck. But that's not going to be universal, and it just requires discernment. So now we have the Two of Wands, Seven of Cups, Star card, and the Eight of Pentacles. So the first eight is out because I was looking, because we're getting an indication of magic here. So I'm going to keep going just to know for sure. We have the Queen of Cups, Four of Cups, Justice, Three of Wands, Queen of Pentacles, Five of Pentacles. We are not done. This is a larger reading, an expanded reading. I'll expand on the channel because, as always, it's free for the daily travel faith. Soon we will expand all the readings in another location, but right now we're going to do it here for this cast, daily travel faith. So let's do the counting. Vertex of Abundance is the galactic temple of ascension, delivering sacred messages from behind the veil. From Los Garabeo, we will be deliberating the findings for any correlative or corresponding energy from Veda Sibilla, the Daily Oracle. I want to know what this Queen of Cups and the Four of Cups is. Desperation. Somebody needs something to move because they're feeling ignored, left behind, on the back burner. Queen of Cups, Ten of Cups. We're looking out for love, but we're the ones getting love. This other side is kind of matured. And to be honest, somebody else was in their ear saying that it wasn't going to work. Let's not go deep into that just yet. Vertex of Abundance is a galactic temple of ascension, delivering sacred messages from behind the veil. If anything resonates with you, go ahead and smash that like button, comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, book a session, send a donation. From Ripe Avocado, I think I've already said it. We're going to go ahead and deliberate the findings for any type of pairing energy here. We have a double two. We have a pair of fives. We have a pair of kings. We have a pair of queens. Oh, yeah. We have a pair of queens. We have a pair of knights. We do not have a second ace. That's what I was checking for. But we do have a pair of sixes. And we have a triple five. Oh my dear. Okay, so let me tell you about a triple five. So a triple five, unlike the pair of fives, the two fives, when there's three fives, it means it's not just chaos, it's anarchy. Something is intentionally going, F this, screw the law, screw respect, screw civility, decency, every man for his own. So it's like lobbing wounds back and forth is what I'm getting. So let's just read this down one more time. We have a pair of twos. We have a triple five. We have a pair of sixes. We have a pair of knights. We have a pair of queens and a pair of kings. Now, the king and queen of pentacles are here, and we have the king and queen of swords. So back to the pairing. Matching for love. Lover, lover, McLover. So we talked about the estrangement. Let's talk about the union. So around this time, March 20th to June 20th. And if it's not a timing thing, because it says spring, maybe you're in the Southern Hemisphere or something, it would talk about blossoming, fruitfulness. Now, we also have desensitized. So, emotionally detached due to fear of unwanted behaviors, feeling numb and suppressing feelings through either drugs, alcohol, or some other addictive pattern. There's a glow up here, probably on both sides, coming out of illness, but it's a no. It's a no. With the Five of Swords, it normally would be, almost always. Sagittarius. So we're using this connection to pinpoint who and what and where we should be, not just about ourselves, but about what we should be attracting. Because it honed our view and vision. It cleaned up our gaze or something of that nature. But also there was an energy trying to strip, and all it did was make us detach. So sometimes there's an energy in the environment surrounding location that will strip all the roads and avenues so that all we can do is turn back to that one source that's left open. But sometimes we no longer desire that source. It's what, magic, especially when it changes a person's feelings, can backfire very easily. There needs to be an alignment that a person who's willing to do dark magic wouldn't necessarily have that awareness. And then if it's an entity doing dark magic, it's usually not earthbound and they don't need to do magic per se because there's just functions and laws of the universe. Typically, magic already has something naturally in affinity, and all you do is clear the path and work within a rhythm and work within a cycle. So there's a stripping or a leaving out in the cold or some type of debilitation, which opposite of that would be a need to turn into, tap into grace and source. And it gave us a need for security, foundation, which was further clarified by realizing the things we need to detach from. There was a lot of things that were love hate, realizing that most of what we were offered was going to be a temptation. We weren't going to be able to move forward without spiritual perfection, anyways. So we kind of took our foot off the gas and let things slow down, cool down, because a lot of what we were being offered, whether in experience, whether in actual offers like lovers or jobs or whatever, a lot of the things coming into our energy field were out of alignment with our spiritual nature. They would have been gaslighting, a mirage, or some type of facade. They would have been out of our unhealed, unawakened place. The moment we matured, we realized that the things we were looking for, or we thought we wanted, they were from an unhealed aspect of ourselves. Ultimately, it gave whatever was being projected our way, it repelled it because it was rejected. Not rejected outright, but it was deemed as not in alignment with what we authentically wanted the moment we became our authentic self. And what we're doing in the now is we're on that grind, we're on that hustle, we're on that flow, we're on that duck thistle, that juice, that base. Eight of Pentacles, Knight of Wands. So we're working things out. We're coming back to ourselves. We're returning to the divine grace of the union of Creator. Basically, Six of Cups is sanctuary. What is sanctuary? Refuge, safe space. So we're going back to our root, to our ancestral root, and it's really the best option here because everything that we used to leverage, everything that we thought we knew, whoever we thought we were, that's no longer true. We don't just need to return to basis. We need to return to our origin, and which isn't always from our youth. It's typically from our lineage. Because this other side is pouring the water and illuminating the path, but there's something about this path that's still degraded, which means like it's the illumination of the path is making sure that that one light is on when everything else has been made dark. And not because everything else has gone dark, but it might have been intentional. There's a strategy here through witchcraft. It's somebody trying to impose wisdom upon us that is in alignment with the authenticity of our soul. Frankly, if we were to do magic, which we're not here, our magic would be stronger. So I don't mean this specifically, but generally I do, that this magic's kind of weak. Maybe not in general, but for us, it doesn't, it's ineffectual. And we have a triple queen, not a double. So we have a pair of twos, triple five, a pair of sixes, a pair of knights, a pair of kings, triple queen. So each queen, okay, I take that back. They're mixed match. They're not in alignment. The queens and the fives. So this other side is hoping, wishing, praying, conjuring up some wounding from the past. Four of cups, seven of cups, queen of cups. They're hoping, wishing, praying, conjuring up some wounding from the past. Their heart's desire, soul's ambition is for us to manifest or come back. But this was some type of karmic lesson. Five of wands. Unless they find some talent that involves a practical skill, because they're going to have to make changes. They're going to have to leave behind whatever they built their life upon. And I don't mean eight of cups, I mean whatever their origin story is, six of cups. Sometimes there's rules in the family. So you would lose your connection to the family, not entirely, maybe, some of us, yes, but maybe that the whole opinion of you is going to change, or um, maybe you were born like in one sports team, but then you move and you marry into a family, and all of a sudden you have a different team. Something's going to have to be left behind, broken down, degraded, or even exiled. So this is most likely not going to come together if it is some type of romantic relationship. Now, the glow up could also just mean that they're finally coming out of the closet. It doesn't always mean the gay closet, it can mean the broom closet. They could, in reality, have a different career, a different orientation, a different skill, a different identity than who they are known to be. Sometimes everybody thinks you're going to med school because you want to be a doctor, when it really turns out you want to be an artist or a chef. Sometimes you've been secretly working for the government for the past 10 years, and now you get a different position. You can finally be honest about the fact that you work in public service. Sometimes you're from a family that likes one activity. Maybe they go to the beach house every year when actually you hate the ocean. Maybe you're practicing witch or an herbalist when everybody else in the family is a medical doctor, when you really want to go into Chinese medicine, or study herbs or something. Maybe everybody else in the family goes to a therapist, and while all you really want to do is consult an astrologer. Like, coming out of the closet means many different things. A disclosure of the authentic self. There's going to be austerity here because there's going to be a loss because of some kind of karmic lesson. We need to face the noise, but also rise above it. Because with this going on the path, this other side, somebody here, probably not us, but with this going on the path, it's going to repel a lot of energies that are around right now. A lot of people are going to act a fool. There's going to be interference even. And that's just what this is. So let's look at this triple five. Yeah, Knight of Wands. In order to make movements according to our drive, desires, passions, motivations, we're going to have to, yeah, there's going to be interference because there is a relationship to move to move into here, but and I keep getting the language coming out of the closet. So, but this person's already worked through that. And some kind of opportunities coming our way. Ace of Pentacles with the Three of Wands. Once it was kind of hidden or secret, and now it's going to be worked on. The groundwork's going to be laid. Seven of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles. So the Triple Queen normally is competition of society being seen and coming out with something. What is this Triple Queen? We have a whole narrative here. So there's interference, Five of Wands. There was a karmic lesson, something was petty. We have to let something go, Ten of Wands, in order to gain something which is eternal life, Ten of Cups. Also, we can call that emotional fulfillment. There is some action required, massive action in the distant future. It could also just be leadership, or because the King of Wands takes the longest to mature, overcoming a lot of things, going through a lot of lessons. Because there's a reunion coming, Six of Cups. It's everywhere, and I'm starting to feel that. There's a reconciliation coming with a reunion. Something here is working on healing some type of former wound or trauma. It might have been a delay. It might have been a rupture here. Somebody's going to come with their heart on their sleeve. Knight of Cups, Page of Cups. They might even be coming to apologize. This was an ordeal or a burden. And something about this was very secret or sneaky. So there's not a pair of twos. I don't know why I was imagining that. Let's look at this pair of knights here. Yeah, there's going to be convergence, and it's going to be a creative new beginning here. It could even be the act. So we have the Two of Wands with a pair of aces here. That's a union, but it's coming through. I'm hearing, coitus copulation, bed pleasures, Lesesto, hanky panky. We have a pair of kings here. Yeah, so somebody's needing secrecy, discretion. They're needing to use cunning, strategy, and truth. And there's some deliberation here or an opposing mind. Somebody not might be carrying something because they're of an opposing mind when in reality this already wants them. There could be a lot more union and synthesis here. But since they're on guard so much, they're so guarded, they're really missing something. I mean, I'm getting the narrative of somebody that wants to enter into some type of union or which is professional or romantic, and they're of an opinion that it's going to create such a challenge externally in their life outside of this union that they're being sneaky about something inside the union. And they don't realize that inside the union, there's a lot of support, but they need to open up about their intentions or their needs or their thoughts or their feelings or whatever. And I understand people handle things the way ever they handle, but their needs need to be declared. The intentions need to be made clear. And there's some way that they're navigating things, which is only compounding the complications, not the solution. So they're focused on the problem, not the solution to the problem. And on our end, we're this Queen of Wands. So we are visionary and we can overcome this very easily. And what they're forfeiting is the Ten of Pentacles. That's a legacy relationship. All the money is there, all the family is there, everything. Children, extended family, money, legacy, inheritance, all of that. So that's unfortunate because sometimes fear or conditioning and programming, Five of Wands with the Six of Cups, something happened in the early, and I'm hearing that it was daddy. On their end, it was daddy. With the kings both on their side. Okay, now we have this Five of Swords with the Star card. So that could be Venus in the 11th house, Venus in Aquarius. Yeah, there is a secret here. Falsita, we know what the secret is, but this other side is contrived. And there could be joy, but there needs to be a shift right now because there's a solution here that hasn't been shared yet. The Star card and the Justice card can mean criminality or demon. So there might be a fear demon here. I don't understand how that works because, yeah, but yeah, there needs to be a collapse on this other side because the thing that they want is here, but they're going to need to be clear about what they want, and they're walking into a future of depression because they're settling. They're settling. They're going to be some men die at 25 and wait around to be 70 to get married. So they're ushering in a whole lifetime of heartache and heartbreak is what I'm getting. It's unfortunate. Yeah, so Hangman, they're willingly sacrificing, and Queen of Wands clearly were desirable to this person. Eight of Wands. Okay, so they will come out of this, but it requires us to shine bright like a diamond. Sun card, world card. This is the world of healing, and then the King of Cups. So this person needs to get into their authentic, genuine self, because before this King of Cups was before this King of Cups was the Five of Pentacles. So now we have a pair of eights, which is witchcraft. We still have a pair of pair of eights, which is spell work. We still have a pair of fives, which is witchcraft. Here, it's the sunken place. This person was left apathetic outside of their heart, and they needed to find some strength. Nine of Wands. That's a lot of strength left, a little bit of fight. And they might have been entitled or something of that nature. Five, Nine of Wands, King of Wands. But this is saying that they needed to see here some kind of potentiality for commitment and true love. They need to understand that they want to be in a relationship, what I'm getting. Now, it can also be work. Queen of Pentacles, King of Cups, that would talk about the thing that's authentic to our energy. This is overwhelming how these cards are coming out. Because we have the King of Swords and Nine of Swords. So that's us wanting to pinpoint something or wanting to lean in and examine something at its depth. So we want to question and examine this person, and what they want is to work on themselves. They're focused either on work or they're detached in something that they're on a grind. So they're detaching because they're on a grind right now. But something has their energy. And so they're kind of being puppeted around. And somebody is holding them in their hand. They might be attached to a witch, is what I'm getting. Yeah, so we need to pray protection over them. There's a couple of different things I'm getting here. Now, this person still is lost. Because there was conditioning. I mean, this energy happened too easily. So this witch probably came in and tied into some program that was still running from their childhood. It was way too easy. This was a low-hanging fruit, easy mark. Because we should be in a commitment right now, but right now what there is some kind of suppression, repression. And normally I would advise to walk away from this kind of situation. Leave the table when love not being served. But what this is also saying is like, pray love and kindness over their gate and then leave, you know. Like don't hold on for some drama and trauma when the person's not even holding on for you. But it doesn't mean that if they probably came across our path because we're awakened enough to know that they're unawakened. We are healed enough to know that this person is unhealed. And we would be the one to intercede before the divine to say, like, listen, your child's over here without enough support. Handle up on that. I'm going to keep on moving because I can't yoke myself to this mess. I can't attach myself to this darkness. I'm just going to check on this double queen and double king, and we're going to wrap this reading up. Okay, double king. Yeah, so there is an alliance. So King of Cups, King of Pentacles, that's an alliance to take care of each other. And they would secure a connection with us if they could even think or fathom such a thing. This Queen's here means co-creation, collaboration, cooperation. We need to work it out and talk it out. But right now they're so blind and we're wounded. So we're kind of detached. We're quarantined, but it's come before our throne. So we do need to tell the Lord what's going on. We really do. So it's been an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to serve. Thank you for allowing me to do so. I do want to also say that they've done something wrong, and it's hard to understand, but the way that it goes is when they have the Five of Wands Danda and the Queen of Wands on our end, It means that if we were to get angry, they would get some type of reverberation because there might be a resentment on our end. So we do need to think benevolently towards them. They would do better if they knew better, or less believe that, because Star card is here. So they are a pure, bright, blissful, and they're not a dark soul, but they're ensnared or trapped or la-di-da, yada yada. And their destiny has been delayed, perhaps indefinitely, because their accomplishment and their achievement has been delayed here. World card, achievement. Sun card, accomplishment. Delay, hangman. Star card, destiny. Hangman and the star card, destiny delayed. So, and then look, it's because something is here to bring collapse. Yeah, there's an energy that wants them in a hoping, wishing, praying, longing type of situation. And it's a third party to us and them. Um, so even though they might be in a connection with somebody that's not us, they are. There's probably some kind of witch that's attached themselves to this person when really they're our person, or they were. But I didn't see the Four of Wands. I didn't see the Two of Cups. I didn't see the Temperance or the Lovers. So they're in our hand because we have love for them and we need to pray love over them and release. They're an assignment. Don't de servicio. They're an assignment because they're in despair. They're entrapped by darkness and they're a child of God. And they're going to be pinned down for life. And the thing is, we know this. We need to call it out. Maybe not to them, but we need to call it out. Yeah, they're one of our spiritual children. We need to call it out to God before the altar. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to do so. If anything I said resonates deeply with you, go ahead and smash that like button. We're going to say a quick prayer for all those still lost out there to illusion, delusion, confusion, trapped in the seas of time, lost somewhere in the matrix, yet to heal, yet to awaken, yet to return to the resplendent grace of the divine, unconditional love and universal oneness. Ho'oponopono, we love you. We're sorry. Please forgive us. Thank you. We pray that your steps are ordered, your paths illuminated, and that you find salvation and redemption in this lifetime. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be whole. May you be at peace. May we receive everything we ever wanted, starting with what we deserve. Until we meet again, until we read again. Namaste, Dandavar, and Ashe. This was a message about someone that we were connected to, where there was warfare, not between the two of us, even though there was some shadow and unhealed behavior. There was an external entity that was suppressing one of us. We were both being suppressed because of how we were connected, but one person here had a lot of wounding from earlier in life, and that got triggered or used to entrap them in some type of magical prison by a third party that they might be in a one-on-one relationship with. And we might technically be the third party since we're an ex or somebody that was a misconnection or whatever. But the reason we were connected to each other was for us to be their catalyst. But instead of them taking us as a catalyst and breaking out of whatever paradigm they were in, they doubled down. So a karmic lesson came up, and instead of leaning in and learning that lesson, they're in the remedial stage now. And they're still attached to us in some way. So we need to do a couple few things: pray love over them, release them, or just release them, or whatever. If we just release them without praying love over them, they're going to have a collapse. So at the very least, them having a collapse will break them free from whatever magical prison that they're in, but it might leave some karma between us for another lifetime. So it's not about us wanting to return and find union or intimacy with this individual. It's about us praying love over the path so that there's nothing between us, no karma between us. And that will give them a bolster, that will give them a leg up so that they can not be remedial in whatever karmic lesson that they're in. It might not break them free, but it may give them the strength to break free on their own. because we always bear the weight of our karma, and that is what they need to do. If we force the issue, they'll break out of that connection, but they might not learn the lesson. And they'll just as easy fall out of one prison into another prison. So it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve. Thank you for allowing me to do so. See you in the next one. Take good care. Bye-bye, dear.